Welcome to PF Women Online Teaching, where our goal is to spread God's Word always in all ways. Subscribe to our channel by clicking below, and thanks for joining us today.
Welcome to PF Women Online Teaching. I am Jeanette, Alcantara, Christian mental health counselor, and I'm excited again to be here with you to continue our topic about mental health in this series called Therapy in Session. Today we're going to talk more about our thoughts, and we're going to dive into our feelings. So sometimes I feel like our thoughts have a mind of their own, literally. Sometimes we just start thinking things and they happen to be so negative and we don't understand where they're coming from. Sometimes our thoughts tend to be more irrational and negative because of past experiences that we've dealt with that have been hurtful or have affected the way we trust people. Some of the irrational thoughts that we do as human beings could be like mind reading, like thinking that we know what someone else is thinking. Has that ever happened to you, where someone is talking and they're not even talking to you, but you start to have this irrational thought in your mind that that person is talking about you in a negative way? Well, that may have to do with insecurity or maybe some low self-esteem. Sometimes we may have a situation that's, such a blessing in our life, but we can only look at the negative aspects of that situation. For example, we'll go into a work performance review and we'll have so many check marks of things that we've done great, and then we'll have something that needs improvement, but then we'll just focus on that thing that needs improvement. Well, that's called disqualifying the positives, and that's an irrational thought process that sometimes we have. One of the most common irrational thought processes that we have is called catastrophizing. We literally catastrophize everything. Something will be this big and we make it this big. So how do we control these thoughts that have literally a mind of their own? Well, sometimes it's really hard to control them. Sometimes they just come. They're automatic. And we call them in counseling automatic negative thoughts, ants. Sometimes our thoughts can be negative because, like I said before, we have childhood experiences or things from our past that make us have a negative view on something. So how do we go about this? Well, we can't stop our thinking. It's automatic. But what we can do is we can rationalize our thinking. But how do we know that we're having a negative thought? So this is the answer. The way that you know that you're having a negative thought is because the feeling that you're feeling after that thought is not good. You're feeling anxious, you're feeling angry, you're feeling sad. The feeling is negative. So when you feel that you're having some negative emotions going on, that typically means that you're having a negative thought that's causing you to have that negative emotion. So the goal is to sit with your feelings and rationalize your thoughts before you get to the place of actually acting on them. See, the thing with feelings is that we've often heard, don't feel this way, or you shouldn't feel like that. But in all actuality, God gave us feelings for a reason. God gave us feelings so that we know when something is wrong. It's not bad to feel angry. It's bad to act on that anger. God did not say, don't be angry. God said, be angry, but do not sin. It's okay for us to feel. So I'm here today to tell you that the Lord is saying it's okay to feel. You can feel sad at times. You can feel angry. You can feel embarrassed. It's okay. What He doesn't want you to do is sit there and do nothing about it. When you're having a negative feeling, what the Lord wants you to do is sit with that feeling, validate it. I'm feeling sad. Think to yourself, why am I feeling this way? What are the thoughts that I'm having that's drawing this feeling? What are the thoughts that I'm having that's leading to this feeling? Oh, I'm having this thought. Well, that's irrational because there's no way that I can know what another person's thinking. In that moment, you can take your thought captive and make them obedient to what the Lord is saying. You can take your thought captive and put it on trial. What is the truth? You can take that thought captive and put it on trial. Does this thought have any truth to it? I'll give you another example. Oftentimes, we may have a situation going on in our life, and it's a difficult situation. We go through trials all the time. We may view that situation in such a negative way because all we can see is the problem, but not the possible solutions. So if we look at that situation and we're thinking that the outcome is going to be negative, oh, I know I'm not going to get that job. Oh, I know this is not going to turn out right. What we're doing is predicting this most negative future, which the Lord doesn't teach us. The Lord tells us to lean on Him. He tells us to be hopeful. So when we're having such thoughts like that, what we need to do in that moment, when we're in our feeling, is saying, why am I feeling hopeless right now? Why am I feeling sad right now? What is the thought that's driving that feeling? Oh, I'm thinking I'm not going to get that job that I'm applying to. I'm thinking that things are not going to work out the way I want to. Let me take that thought captive and make it obedient to what God says. God says He's my provider. God says to be hopeful. God says that He will give me everything that I need. I cannot determine what's going to happen in the future. God knows that. But I can be hopeful that God will provide. I can be hopeful that things will turn out the way they need to because my trust lies in God. Once you change that thought and rationalize it and make it obedient to what the Lord is saying, then you're going to start feeling better. You're going to start feeling more hopeful. You're going to start feeling much, much more positive. And this is not about positivity. It's just about rationalizing and leaning on God's truth. Now, some situations are very difficult. You may lose someone that you love. You may be dealing with grief. And guess what? That doesn't mean that you can just rationalize that away. Sometimes when you're dealing with grief or something really difficult like that, you're going to cry. You need to feel sad and you need to lean on people that are there for you. You can tell yourself the truth. The truth is that no matter how difficult the trial is, God is with me. No matter how difficult the trial is, I know I'll be able to overcome it. It'll be hard, it's painful, but I know that God is with me. I am not alone. That is the truth in such a situation. So I leave you with this. We can't control all the automatic negative thoughts that come our way. We know they're going to happen at times. And like I said before, it really has to do with our core beliefs. It has to do with things from the past that sometimes we need to visit and take care of. But when we do have those automatic negative thoughts and we start having these negative emotions, we have to take a minute. We have to pause before we take an action step. And we have to validate our feelings, think about our thinking. And like Romans 12:2 says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Be transformed when you think differently. Thank you for tuning in.